everyone, and welcome to Showmez Season 3, Episode 4. This is the final episode of the Showmez Season 3. I am joined by Paul Ulibarri, Nate Sexton, and Jeremy Koling. I am Jonathan Gomez. Thank you all for joining us. We are here to finish up the final phase of the 10-year history of Jomezpro. We just wrapped up at the end of 2020, one of the craziest years we'd seen in all of our disc golf careers and our lives, and then just kind of going to get us up to speed through 2021 and to present date. Here we are in Charlotte, North Carolina. How's everyone doing? How are you guys feeling as we wrap up the 2022 season?
Tired. I'm feeling good. Yeah, it was a crazy season, but
I'm burnt out. I'm like totally like I've never been more involved with so many different things. And I actually did a pretty good job of avoiding injuries, but my body is just tired. You know, like my body is ready to not be moving to the next place, to set up, to practice, to play, to break down, to move, you know. Yeah. I love February because that itch is there. And I love the season, but come October, I'm either really, really, really pumped about the last couple tournaments, or I am the way I am right now, which is like, we're there. We made it.
Nate, you need to pull us out of this depressing state.
It's not depressing. I'm just kidding. It's just the way it is, man.
Please say something positive.
I've never felt stronger. Yes. I wish there was more tournaments. No, I obviously my schedule is totally different than these guys, so I don't know that I feel like an incredible burnout, but I'm still certainly looking forward to like once we get through this guy's wedding, then I don't have like a flight like in 10 days, because I kind of like always have a flight in 10 days. Yeah. And I'm just kind of like, man, it'd be nice to kind of just like sit down, take a big breath out, and settle into like 7 or 8 weeks of just kind of being at home and
so nice.
And doing my thing there, and you know, trying to actually practice a little more and get better, hopefully.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, like they said, it is quite a grind. It feels good to be towards the end of the season. I know we on the production side of things feel the same way. There really isn't as much as such thing as an off season as there used to be, especially when it's your full-time job. But it is kind of nice, like they say, to know that you don't have to just pack up and go to the next thing, you know, event after event. Let's get this started off back all the way at the beginning of 2021. We had just gotten out of the craziest year we'd ever seen in the pandemic, and we still, thankfully, the Pro Tour did a great job of making sure we got to go through and, you know, still have a significant amount of events with all the precautions we took in 2020. So we were like, okay, now that we've gotten through 2020, how does 2021 look? And thankfully, it felt a little bit more like a normal season. We still got the season started off in Las Vegas, the Las Vegas Challenge, and of course, our signature beginning of the year video. We got to do another one of those. Some of you remember the 2021 version with Brian Geis. He directed that, and it was like the movie trailer style video. It was so fun. And then, of course, we got to introduce Yuli. I think that might have been his first time being involved in the beginning of the year video. Do you guys remember filming that video?
Of course.
That was as much fun as you can really have. I mean, we got to like take this great script that Brian put together and then like just kind of ad-lib the details as we went through, which is kind of what we did the year before with the Too Many Cooks themed intro, where we were just kind of like on the spot, like, oh, what if we did this? But the montage of working out where we put the pound bags on our back and we're doing push-ups and like adding discs to make it heavier. And like
the no-handed pull-ups.
The no-handed pull-ups. All that stuff was...
It was all very stupid and fun. And it took like fully 2 days. I remember that.
Yeah, that which is probably the most shooting we've ever done for one of those. Because like we said in previous episodes, we'd shoot them like the night before, be like, hey, we should do this, and then get it done the next day. And this one was like Brian had it written like a month in advance, and we shared it with them, and we like got everything together, and he did such a great job. And then
there were explosions.
Yeah, so many explosions.
So many explosions.
That was awesome.
And I think, you know, probably Kevin was in charge of some of those crazy effects. He was
killing
like,
those.
I don't know who else, probably Michael. And that was just like so much fun. And I remember like before he'd introduced Yuli, you guys were in the car, like doing the little cop scene. And
yeah.
Like,
I'm getting too old for this.
The thing that pops into my mind is like we made it and we had a great time with it. And I think most everyone loved it. But then I'll go and see comments, and like some of the comment that I just think is the most useless thing a person could say is like
Cringe.
not even that.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of close to that, but people that are like, stick to disc golf, boys.
Oh,
It's like,
yeah.
oh, you think? Like you think maybe we aren't professional actors and maybe we weren't just goofing around and trying to make a funny thing.
Yeah.
I just find it a little like, cool, man. Like, yeah, I guess I will. You know, maybe I won't go to Hollywood.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know. It kind of got me
useless.
pumped up.
You
I
might
was
go-
thinking
yeah,
about
maybe we
there's-
should do a career change. I just find it funny. You know,
Totally.
we're in a weird spot now where our actions get commented on, and that's a privilege. But I just think it's funny when somebody tries to like cut you down in a way that's sort of like, yeah, man. Like I know.
In those moments,
I'm not going to Hollywood.
when I see something like that, because I also peruse the comments because I think it's funny. You guys have some funny things to say, but a lot of times you have things to say that I'm like, oh, do I need to be reflective or is that just a troll? So I've got to kind of like figure out. I got to put it in its right basket. But then
You
at
guys
the
are mean.
end,
You guys are mean sometimes.
sometimes you guys are mean.
You guys are just mean.
Hey, but
Sometimes nice. Most
But-
of the time nice. But some of you guys are just plain flat out mean.
mean.
But that's fine because you're watching us.
What I have to realize in that moment is for the last 2 days, my job, my profession, my job that I was getting paid for
Yeah.
was filming a stupid bit where we did no-handed pull-ups
Yep.
over a stone wall and had the time of our lives doing it, probably laughed for a solid 18 hours in those 2 days.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like just and
All
it's
the
not,
scenes,
it's not to be
like-
like, oh, cool, look at my life. It's just like I have to look at that and be like, the punishment for having so much fun is that I read some of these comments and then they make me feel bad for a second. Then I'm like, wait a second, no.
Yeah.
What we're doing is totally sweet.
Absolutely.
It's so fun. And I think most people know that.
And at the end of the day, if we think it's funny, then it's funny.
That's all that matters.
Yeah,
You know,
if you and
so
your
it's like,
friends
who
think it's
cares?
funny and you're having a good time, and
People can like it or not
The only
like it.
difference is we'd happen to be broadcasting it to other people, and then they can weigh in on it too. But any other group of friends is like if they think something's funny or they have their little catchphrases or inside jokes, that's all that matters. They're not like, is anyone else going to think this is funny? It doesn't matter.
And the facts are, if we were to be like to those people who are commenting, like, come on, stick to disc golf. If we would be like, hey man, would you like to film with us for this commercial? They'd be like, really? And then you'd be bad too, but you'd have a blast.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so we got the season started off in Vegas, and like I said, I feel like we had, there was still a lot of precautions in place. I'm sure if you remember, like we still had to travel, and things were still pretty new as far as what it was going to look like almost a year after the entire like breakout. So we got to move into Waco and just the normal Texas swing, Texas states, and kind of do our thing. Yeah, I don't remember specifically, but like, do you recall like feeling like it was still some of the same of like the year before, or did you feel like we kind of got past?
There's always been like kind of a lingering, outer layer of COVID. I feel like everywhere. You know? It's just kind of always there. It was definitely more lenient, but I felt the presence of that, and it was a little more strict compared to years past, of course, and it was different. Definitely changed the landscape, I feel like, of disc golf in general completely.
Absolutely. I felt really conflicted, and I think I got into this maybe in episode 3 a little bit, but obviously my wife is in healthcare, and I really wanted to get back out there and work and be with you guys and play tournaments. But at the same time, then now I remember basically begging you guys via text, like, hey, like Koling can get her vaccine pretty soon. Like, keep it locked down, guys. Because I knew, I didn't want to make you guys live your lives in like a little bubble. But at the same time, I knew there was no way I could be wearing a mask in the commentary booth and that we'd be hanging out. And essentially that exposes me and by proxy, my daughter, to everyone that you guys had been around. So I was really appreciative of when you guys were able to kind of like, oblige that a little bit, but it was hard because it's like, as much as I wanted to be out there, it was also a lot of unknowns at that time early on. And at the end of the day, it's like, obviously I trust my wife's opinion, and I was trying to walk this line of like playing it safe with that, but also being able to be out here and do my job and still do Jomez and still compete. But then, it was, I'm glad that I think the worst is over with that kind of stuff, because it was just a really awkward time to try to live this life for me.
Obviously, I think we'll look back on it and we'll always be able to remember that uncertainty of like what is going on and like how long is this going to last and all that. But like I've almost in a way, even though it was just last year, I've almost like compartmentalized that period of time.
Yeah.
Where like I feel like we're so much back to the original way that things were before that I don't really like, I'm not seeing people in the streets with masks on. I'm not thinking about people like whether my responsibility should be to mask up or like, you know, keeping your distance from people. And like, you know, like I think maybe one thing I've gotten out of it is just like trying to be more cautious about washing my hands more regularly.
Yeah.
But then other than that, like I'm like not really thinking about COVID anymore, which is kind of what I think all of us wanted to get, that place we all wanted to get to. But I'm also not married to someone in the healthcare industry, and I don't have to like be reminded of those things as often. And so like I'm trying to just get back to a place where I can just be who I was before. But now we're all benefiting from post-COVID disc golf world, which just completely changed the scope of the sport.
Yeah, and I think we were starting to sense that probably in the early part of 2021. Like we were starting to kind of sense that maybe how weird is it that, you know, and obviously COVID, a lot of people lost their lives, and I don't want to make light of that in any way, but that COVID in a weird way was like the greatest thing to ever happen to disc golf market, you know, in terms of the demand for discs.
I mean, you could say that, or it was when I came to Jomez.
Oh.
And that could be...
So maybe that's why everyone got out
think
there.
about that.
Yeah,
Wow.
All these new people were like, I saw
dude.
this YouTube thing, and there was two guys that were like, sort of just
But
kind of doing their
then-
thing, but then this other guy,
Then this guy really caught me.
and it
'Cause
was
of
like
the
a fire was
acting.
lit under, you know.
The
He seemed like he
acting
should have
and
been in Hollywood almost. Like when he popped up, I was moved to tears in the video.
He could have
But that's
gone
the other
either
side
way.
of that coin, right? You can kind of go, oh, these guys are bad actors. But if we were fantastic and you were crying, do you want that? You know, if our little opening skit is like, oh, God, Dickerson killed him, you know, and we're just acting so good that you're just like, oh, it hurts. I don't think that's where we want to go either. But you kind of did go there. Your acting was sublime.
Thank you.
You had the whole breakdown market like cornered, you know, and then we're like,
Because
dang.
remember, you were acting like you hated everything about your life during those whole breakdowns in this era. It was like this acting thing where you would come on and be like, let's see how it plays out.
It was kind of
And
a
it seemed
hobby.
like
No.
There were some.
Let's see how it plays out.
Yeah.
That's
But your
okay.
eyes were dead.
Yeah, there
Let
was
me just
nothing
show
behind
you.
him.
Everybody that I like was talking to about the whole breakdowns, because we all loved them, because you're a very lovable guy, and there's a funny bit that, you know, well, a funny bit in the way that it was like not intended to be funny at all.
It wasn't a bit.
It must have been a funny bit because you were such a robot while you were doing it that it was like, this is not who you are. But like we all had our own like impersonations of Paul's whole breakdown. Let's see how it plays out. And like we just did a little like head bobbing thing that's like, I don't even think you did that, but like in
might
my
have done
eyes, that's like the character that you were
See, but
personifying
people
there.
also give me crap for that because they're like, why are you so serious?
Yeah.
But you got to do it the same every single time. And by the end of the year, everybody, hey, Paul, let's see how it plays out,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
Still to this day.
It's
Just marketing, man. You'll get there.
I know. You're clear to putt. All right. But the let's see how it plays out hats and shirts.
Yeah.
That needs to happen.
Let's
Yeah,
leave
it's
some
not a
comments.
bad
I know
Vote-
that it's
vote right
I
now
know
in
that
the
it's
comments.
a little bit past its prime
Well,
point.
I think I'm going to bring it back with at the end of like our commentary and stuff.
Yeah. Final couple
Yeah,
holes.
yeah. Because
after
I
the
need
final
a
round,
Yeah.
third round,
Yeah.
final 9 plays out.
Or
Just
just
like
the final
thanking the
round,
fans
you
for
know.
watching, and then just
All
say
right,
Last
see
3
how-
holes.
Yeah.
Let's see how
Exact.
it plays out.
That's how it'll be on the shirt.
William
It'll be stacked.
Shatner. Let's see how it plays out.
Yeah. That's acting.
That's
You know,
what we
he's a
do,
great
though.
actor.
That's
Wow.
what we do.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, I mean, that's the great thing about it is if this whole disc golf thing just doesn't work out, you guys we already have the crew. We can just switch gears.
Yeah. I mean, post-production is entirely acting in a way,
True.
you know. Like
Jerm
we-
got plenty. Oh, we haven't gotten to that
Oh,
yet.
yeah.
We'll get there. We'll get
We'll
there.
get there.
Yeah, sure.
It's so crazy, like you said, at the beginning of 2021, when we started having people just like showing up to tournaments and being like, I just started playing.
Yeah.
I just started.
Like everybody saying that.
And there would be hundreds that you would meet. Then there's thousands, tens of thousands more that you're never going to meet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they'll just be like, I just started. You guys are awesome. You know, blah, blah, blah. But they learned so much quicker. Like they got up to speed.
They literally have
very
names.
quickly.
They're COVID disc golfers. Like there's literally a name for that generation.
It's like baby boomers. But
yeah, baby boomers, but for disc golfers. They're the COVID disc golfers.
And then that statistic started kicking around where everyone was saying that half of current disc golfers had started in the last
The majority.
year.
The
Like
majority
more than
of disc
half
golf.
of the players currently playing had started since COVID. And I don't know how strong that data is, but that stat was certainly sweeping all through the whole
Yeah.
tour. And we were all going, is that real? That
easy,
can't be possible.
Well, that's what I've been hearing for a long time, going back before COVID, was that the majority of disc golfers were players with were considered newbies, 2 years of experience or less.
And it just perpetually
Every year. So those people that have been playing for over 2 years, once that new year comes over, boom, now they're kicked in with all the other masses of disc golfers. And now the new 2 years of newbies are the majority of disc golfers. And that was before COVID. And we all know that COVID brought in, percentage-wise, way more than we've ever brought in. So it's like, it's hard to really calculate, but that's like the numbers that like the manufacturers were aware of based on their sales to like, you know, DX sales kind of like tell you like who's buying discs. Like they can kind of like target it that way. And it's pretty incredible to think that we are just like the smallest portion of disc golfers, especially us who have been playing for, you know, closer to 2 decades now than one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, they can track those sales. They probably see like how many more discs are being sold out of like Dick's Sporting Goods or Academy versus or Walmart versus the pro shops. And they're like, well, these big box stores are reordering a lot quicker than they were the last 5 years. And so that must be because people are stumbling upon it because they just found it from one way or another.
Right.
And then, of course, like I know they have stats on how many more courses are being built or how often. And it's just like incredible. Like
It's like every like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's like 5 a day, I think.
5 a day are going in.
But that means somebody's working on it every
people
5
are
minutes.
asking all the time,
Clearly
hey,
somebody's out there.
like there used to be a time when no one could be like, hey, have you played that course? And I'd be like, no, I've played everything around here.
yeah,
There's courses in Charlotte I have not played.
yeah.
In Charlotte.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy to me. That's just literally courses all over the country that people, hey, have you played that? It's like top course in our state. I'm like, I haven't heard of that. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's tough to get to new courses.
Yes, it is.
Like
For
it
sure.
used to
Very
be like
tough.
the funnest thing. Oh, new course, sweet, dude. No way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
You
it's
just
a
gotta-
weird place, you know.
Yeah.
Like when do I have time?
Yeah, that's-
Show me,
No, you're totally right.
pencil me in
Yeah,
for
like
practicing on a course that means
Which
nothing
I
to
feel
me.
so bad
Yeah.
when somebody comes up, hey, have you played this course on your way out? You need to hit that.
It's only
And
hour
back
away.
in the day, we'd be like, sweet, because there
Totally.
wasn't a lot of courses, so
Totally.
you want to see as many as you want. And now it's like, I don't want to do that.
There's
Yeah.
2 weeks between A tiers. What are you going to do? Of course, you're going to go play those courses that are just for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now it's like I've got a practice round Tuesday morning at
Yeah.
9 a.m., 18 hours away.
Yeah.
And it's Monday.
Yeah.
I need to go right now. Like,
Yeah.
And there was a point where practicing like a tiny course or something actually benefited you because a
Yes.
lot of the tournaments that
Sure.
you played were smaller and those were the shots that you needed. Now it's like, I haven't thrown a 250-foot putter shot in 2 years.
I don't even carry discs for it anymore.
No.
I go home now and I'll be like, oh, I'm going to play just a casual round today. It's going to be fun. And I go down to some course in my area and then I flop down my bag on hole 1 and then I go, 6 Halo Destroyers. What am I? Oh God! And then I'm there with like 3 applicable discs, and I'm like, "Well, that was stupid. I guess I should have gone down to the garage and got some extra discs before I came out here because
Exactly.
I'm just used to not change. I don't think about changing out discs. I think, oh, I'll just go there. But I have this tour setup now, and most of the discs are absolutely useless on a par 56 course.
I went 2 tournaments in a row where I did not throw mid-range. 0 times.
off the
Yeah.
tee.
No, at
At
all.
all.
Just-
At all?
No,
Yeah.
I have fast driver into every green. Just this is
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't use them anymore.
This is like Avery
Well, I kinda
Jenkins'
never did.
dream come true.
yeah.
Like Avery Jenkins, when he won Worlds in Kansas City in 2009, he was like, played Blue Valley, which was the longest course in the world at that point. And I remember him just like loving every single bit of the course because you have to go driver off the tee on every hole.
Yeah.
And for us, that was not what we're used to at all in that time. And now that's kind of like what you're doing on most of the course. You're going driver or fairway driver on every hole.
Yep.
So crazy.
Yeah, it's just insane how much the whole game has changed with all this technology and the way the courses are being made. And like, I know you gave Paul a hard time. I think it was this year at the practice round when you were saying like, this is your fault that they keep changing the dynamic, that they keep changing Jones.
Yeah, we were all having a lot of fun.
The Jones course.
Before you
Yeah,
came
that's
around.
right.
Yeah.
You know, and then you get all these younger
you.
younger and younger kids and throwing further and further and just scores just like, you know, I know you guys always try to like guess on what the score is going to be, and then you're always
Wrong.
lately just wrong
Yeah.
because it's just not how it is anymore.
I still feel like there is no such thing as a disc golf course right now. Like, of what the future is going. I don't think there's been an actual disc golf course made yet. We have disc golf courses, but like you see in traditional golf, there's country clubs. There's thousands of them. There's hundreds of thousands of country clubs to where it's just the sole purpose is workers, greenskeepers, fairway keepers, like this whole thing. We don't have.
You haven't been to Eagles Crossing yet, though.
That's the closest I've heard, right?
Yeah, and we haven't been there yet. We're going to see that in a couple weeks, I think.
But what I envision is like the same thing, like houses around this place.
Yeah.
Like you're a member of this disc golf course.
I
There's
see what
a
you're saying.
fairway
That's wild.
keeper.
Yep.
There's tee pads with, you know what I mean, like that aren't slippery.
Yep.
You know, you pay like $1,000 for your initiation fee, like that whole thing, to where it's a designed disc golf course.
Yeah.
Do we want that though? Is that, I mean, like,
there's space in the market for that.
I think there's space for something that's like that touches on that, but I think one of the things that makes disc golf alluring is the accessibility.
Yeah, but that doesn't really take away from the accessibility.
No, I'm talking about at the highest level. I
Just
think
having a
without
niche.
a doubt we will have those
Yeah.
places. Like a place, the first person to do it, it'll be like the Masters. You know,
Yeah.
it'll just be a spot that you go every year, and it's like the best course ever. And
Sustainability is the only question I have with that. I think that it certainly can in the future. I think, you know, like people getting paid, like
I
what
mean, we could bet now, and I'll say there will be this.
by what year?
No, I don't know. I'm just saying I don't think we have top level disc golf courses yet.
Yeah.
I think the course design right now is in a weird place in disc golf in general, to where they don't even know what they want to do. You know, they're making it as hard as possible, but probably not the best courses in my opinion. I think they're almost there, but then if you're taking a mid-range out of a whole entire course, to me, then you're not doing your job as a course designer, because that is a skill you need
Totally.
to learn from the time you start, and
Yeah.
you need to keep it all the way to the top. USDGC this last weekend, I love that place because there are mid-range shots. There are touch shots. 17's a tough hole, and the hardest one that we have coming down the stretch of a major championship, and you have to have touch going into the green, you know?
Yeah.
Sure.
And that's a skill that you don't see in like other courses.
It's a shame
And
because
like
it's a huge
left
part of
to
the
right,
game.
right to left, all these different out of bounds everywhere. I mean, I think that the U.S. has always been kind of ahead of its time.
You could speak to this because you're the only one of the three of us that have played it, or the four of us. Sorry, Jonathan. I see you there too.
Hi. Yeah, don't worry about me.
But you're the guy who's played Eagles Crossing. What I've heard is that the one thing that holds it back is kind of what you're talking about, where there's a community around it. It's a little bit too far away, I think, to maybe, I don't know. What do you have to say about that as far as like getting close to what his vision is?
Sure. I mean, I don't think there's any kind of designs on like putting housing in. I mean, it's out there and it's like, you know, this private land, which I guess anything would start private and then you would sell parcels or whatever. So that part of it is not happening. But I think I heard tale of like a mini room lodge getting constructed there. So there'd be like a hotel on site. I think there's some cabins already. Mm-hmm. It's something to see. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm excited.
it's far beyond in terms of money spent and effort gone to make it as good as it can be. It's perhaps already beyond anything I thought I might see, you know?
Wow.
Like, you know, like into the millions
Yeah.
on improvements and just like sort of like excavated huge ponds and they're like man-made and you're like, no, whoa, like a 200-foot long retaining wall.
Wow.
And you're like, dang, like it's pretty crazy. Like it looks in a way a lot more like a ball golf course would look in terms of like the what's been put into
The
it.
care, into the details.
Yes. So that's pretty crazy. But yeah, I mean, I think Yuli's absolutely right that I've daydreamed about that plenty of times, and I'm always like trolling around on Zillow going, oh, that land looks pretty
Right,
cool.
yeah.
Just dreaming, and like I think the nightmare of it, you need like a team of lawyers to figure out the zoning that you would need to like have your pro shop and have a community built on this private land. And but golf courses do it. There's a blueprint for how to make that happen because golf courses are making that happen. They're taking land and turning it into this sports sort of paradise thing. And I think we should probably go on Zillow after this and
I'm
see
in.
if we can.
What brought it up was that Maple Hill, he said that hole 1 was voted the best hole in the world.
Best starting hole.
Oh, yeah. Best
on tour, not in the world, but
okay.
on all the Disc Golf Pro Tour courses. You take all the hole 1s from the courses we played last year. That was voted the top hole 1.
I thought it was kind of silly because I'm like, wow, this is the best we got. It's a great hole. I'm not saying that. It's a fun hole. Tough. It has all the things that you need for a tough par 5. But you throw a shot into a road.
Yeah.
That's your landing zone is a road.
Yeah. Random Christmas tree situation.
The trees change every year.
The trees change depending on how many people buy Christmas trees right there,
Yeah.
right? The pond's half down. And I'm not crushing Maple Hill. I love this place.
Yeah, obviously.
But you get what I'm saying? If
Sure.
we're
It's
playing the Elite
multi-use.
Series.
It's multi-use.
And then that's the best that we got.
Yeah.
It's to your point. It doesn't need to be. He's trying to get away from the multi-use. Like, what is it at other times
This
of the year?
whole thing was
like,
dreamed up as a disc golf course. It started as a disc golf course. It's always going to be a disc golf course.
So the Masters, one of the things that I've never been there, and I hope that I can go there one day. One of the things I've heard about it is that there's not a blade of grass in the wrong spot. Like, it's just everything is perfect about it. It's just you can't even truly believe it because the television cameras make it look beautiful, but until you go there and you see it, you really truly can't appreciate it. And we just finished playing a major championship, one of my favorite events, where one of my drives on hole 4 was in just a foot outside the bullseye. And I was walking over there and I had to kick 7 things that were like this big out of my stance on the green that were just there, underneath pine straw. It was just it looked horrible to me. And I was thinking, I know how much work they put into this, but this is still we're just slapping a course design onto a piece of property that is used for Winthrop University's recreation area. And then we have tee pads and baskets out there and you can go play a version of that course throughout the year. But it is very much just a piece of property that we utilize for a major championship. It is not what you're talking about. And it's one of our most revered events. So we are still quite a ways away from that.
Oh, so far. You think about Augusta, where the PDGA, what is it?
IDGC?
IDGC, yep.
International Disc Golf.
That's for disc golf.
Yep.
It's disc golf courses, but you go into this place, okay, and you walk in the doors, and on your right-hand side is the Hall of Fame, and it's a wall.
It's smaller than this room.
Smaller than this room.
It's so
About
tiny.
half
And
the
then
size of this room.
And then the greatest artifacts that we have in the sports history is in this other room that's so tiny and so cluttered. And I think to myself, I go, okay, let me think about another sport.
Canton, Ohio.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that might be 2 stories. And when you go up to the top story, that's where the PDGA or the PGA president's office is. And it's probably looking over this beautiful golf course. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Just with the best view ever. And just huge glass. And then you go into this place and there's his office right over there in the corner, and it's tiny. The wall, it's just where the sport has grown so fast, but I feel like we're still light years away from that.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I'd like the Hall of Fame those plaques to be repurposed in a way. I'd like to see the person's face. I'd like to know a little bit more about them.
Yeah.
I would like for there to be an artifact from this player's
and
collection or something that makes it more personal. Because
100%.
right now you have 100 names,
Yeah.
and they're all right there on this
exactly the
wall, and you're
same.
that's it. That's the famous resting place for this player's legacy, and it's just a paragraph about the player's entire career.
And I'm not taking, and we're
It's
not
not
taking
about-
away from what they're. That's
No,
great
it's
that they even
awesome
have
that we
that.
even
Are
have
you
that.
kidding
It's
me?
awesome to have that,
sure.
but that sounds like I'm trying to downplay how great that is.
Somebody has to do that. Somebody had to do all that work, and we appreciate that.
Yes.
But we just have even bigger dreams.
That was
Exactly.
Levon Wolf, I believe. Levon Wolf, I think, started the Hall of Fame, I think. And Al Guerrero, Speedy Guerrero, like managed it for all those years.
Yep.
He just retired that position. Not trying to knock those guys at all, but I'm saying that's just to say where we are in our sport.
Yeah.
We are a step or 2 or 5 away from getting to a place where we will maybe one day be legitimized by others who can look into our sport from the outside and say that sport is now well established in all regards.
I think that it just takes somebody doing it, just one person doing it, and then more will follow. It's just gotta.
I mean, that's been the case in every phase of what I've seen
Exactly.
in the last 10 years. Is somebody has to be the first one to say, okay, I
I'm
know
gonna
that
film
we're
the world's.
I know that we're used to things being a certain way, and it can be very easy to stay in that level of just being comfortable and saying this is okay. The people before us did it this way, and we're going to continue to do it this way. But to finally say, okay, well, let's shake things up a little bit. So obviously you could say media, but media is, that's a pretty easy one because it's just going to keep getting better. The technology gets better and it's more accessible, and then here you are. But I'm also thinking about like player contracts. Like we didn't say a word about player contracts before Paul. I feel like from my perspective, no one was saying anything about that. How much do they make? How much? I have no idea. I mean, other than unless you know them personally and they want to talk about it.
The only time you're gonna tell it is if you're making millions, though.
Yeah.
I feel like for the longest time
But
I
I
wasn't making even enough. I didn't want to tell you what I made. It was embarrassing.
But I do think
Yeah.
that also helped because then there was that standard set, and you're not going to be able
Exactly,
to
yeah.
necessarily match that. But then you could say, okay, well, let's see who else can work towards those kind of numbers, and then start to like we're so proud of that. How many of us have told that story? Like, oh, like somebody talks crap about disc golf, be like, hey, the top guy's getting 10 years, $10 million. We say that because it's like, well, wait a minute.
Go ahead and
really?
laugh at that.
Yeah,
know?
because
Yeah.
then people
It's
go,
kinda
wait
how
a
it
minute,
feels.
are you serious? And we're
Yeah.
like, yeah. And they'll be like, well, what do you do? Well, I film disc golf. Oh, so it's like a hobby? It's like, no, we have 20 employees. Like
Yeah.
is that like your part-time gig? No, like this is our full-time job.
Yeah.
Like those
Yeah.
kinds of things is like how we're able to start to show people like this is legit. Like we dedicate our lives to this.
Yeah.
And to my point earlier is that these types of changes is what it takes. So when it comes to what you're talking about, course designs, like you guys are kind of the class, I think, that are going to be the ones, like you're saying, I'm going to look on Zillow, and thankfully you've been in a position where financially things are starting to get better while you're still in the game, so that
Yeah.
when it's time to kind of like pull away a little bit, now you can say, oh, well, I want to start directing my attention to this course stuff. I've been able
Yeah.
to build up, or make connections like financially where we can make those moves where 10 years before you, that wasn't really happening. And now you guys,
Yeah.
I think, are in that class of not now knowing what you look for in a course and wanting to build that for the next generation, and also having the means to actually make that happen.
Yeah. At least we can dream. We'll see if we can
Yeah.
execute. But
Well, that's what I'm saying. Though.
Imagine if
I do think that you guys have made enough connections, even if it's not personally like on
Yeah.
a financial thing. You know the people now. You've traveled the country. You know the people that can have connections to secure some land,
Yeah.
or to like the Eagles Crossing. Like those kinds of methods of doing things. You find somebody that kind of has the money that says, well, if you have an idea, like I'm willing to look into it, and
Yeah.
you can show them how much disc golf has grown and how you can get people to your place to have like thousands of people come watch.
Yeah.
Imagine if you had like Augusta type disc golf course, okay, and you could buy a house there.
Yeah.
I'd be buying one
Yeah.
for sure, without a doubt. I'd have one on the 17th tee.
Yeah.
And you're telling me there's not more people who would buy a house on that or within the vicinity of that?
Could you imagine like the Airbnb market?
That's
for
what
like,
I'm saying.
For like to go and spend your bachelor party, or to
Right.
go and spend your
On the-
week on the course of courses,
Exactly,
and
yeah.
for the tournament, whatever.
I heard Yuli has a house on 17th tee.
That's Yuli's house.
That's Yuli's
Exactly.
house right
Get
there.
the binoculars.
And
That's
so-
him.
No,
Oh,
so when
there.
Jerm,
Hey, you eating?
Why is his hot tub
Oh, no.
outside without a wall? Oh.
Is he allowed to be outside dressed like that? Like
hey neighbors,
just water in the
Someone
grass.
call the HOA.
Water in the grass.
but so when Jerm, like when you said, is that where we want it to go? Yes, and I can see it. You know what I mean? I can see it. There's enough people in the game who would exactly Airbnbs or whatever. But I guarantee there's 1,000 people out there who would be like, I'll just buy a house on that place because it's so majestic, so sick, or whatever.
Yeah. When you have millions of people playing now, there's going to be, like you said, 1,000 people that have the means to be like, I'm doing
that would be there.
The counterculture part of our sport will always exist.
That's
so that part will never leave. So there is still the niche for the other side.
Listen, you can still go play golf for $10 at courses, right? For $10,
right.
What's the most expensive place we play for disc golf?
Eagles Crossing.
How much is it?
$35.
$35.
I think.
I went to Hawaii when I was 18 and I played the Maui. Okay.
Yeah.
Golf course. It was $500.
Yeah.
That's relatively cheap.
Well,
right?
No,
not then.
No,
I'm saying
that's pushing up there into the highest you're going to pay to play.
So I'm saying,
are there not like thousands?
So I'm saying there might be, but I'm saying there's $500 and then there's $10.
Yeah,
we have $5 to $35. There hasn't been a disc golf course made. That's what I'm saying.
And you can't get any cheaper than free, and we have majority free. And I think all of us hope that we will continue to always have majority free.
Oh, it still has to have that level of accessibility to get people.
Tons of free, so much.
But at the top,
and then there's always room to grow. That doesn't hurt the free. There's always room to go higher. And if there's a business model that works and there's a price point that works and the experience works for people, more power to you is how I feel. Just don't. I would never want to take away the free and the cheap courses because that's where we all grew up.
You can still go play basketball in the park.
Sure.
But you're not going to go dribble it on the Sun Stadium in the middle of the arena.
Yeah.
It's going to cost you money.
Yeah, for sure.
It's going to cost you money. It's going to cost you connections. You can't go play Augusta, can you?
No.
Nope, but you can go putt on the green somewhere.
Sure.
For free.
Yeah.
You can go to a driving range for $3.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I dig that.
You can't go play Wimbledon.
I like the idea of the balance there. I mean, especially if it is something that is very exclusive. Like I think that it will take a very well-to-do person who can afford the risk of that for a while until that's like a concept that is proven and people are at that point. But I totally agree that we will be there if we're not already there now. And it just is going to take a while for something like that to really grow into being a part of someone's bachelor party idea, a vacation idea. I mean, I live in the place that many people call the Mecca of the sport in Charlotte. And, I'm sure you're getting the same messages I'm getting. Or it's like, hey, man, we're planning a trip down south to play in Charlotte. We're going to be there for a week. What courses should we play? So, I mean, if they're doing that here to come play the free courses, like if you offer something like that,
sure,
I could totally see people being willing to spend, like a good chunk of their savings on some crazy disc golf fantasy vacation.
Sure.
Yeah.
And another part of when you're talking about these places that I think, like, I agree with you, they're inevitable. Like, it's going to happen. But you think about why people kind of have these opinions on live disc golf and why the quality is so different between post-production stuff. It's because people don't quite understand. They're still relying on cell signal. They're still relying on, and they're in the woods, and sometimes all the holes aren't able to be broadcast, or they might change from a different course. Like, we didn't go to Masters Cup this year because I think they're kind of like, okay, that course is just really hard for signal, like, and all that. But my point is, they start building these courses like they do these big high-end golf courses in the Masters. These places have the infrastructure built into them for the media, so that live disc golf can be like at its highest level of quality, because these guys are killing it out there. Like the DGN guys do such a great job, but they're still kind of limited by like the
money,
bandwidth.
Yeah, like, but they also don't have the infrastructure built into these courses, because you might have all the money, but you're not going to go redo what I would think. You're not going to go redo like Jones Gold and line it with fiber, all that stuff. But if you're building it from the ground up and saying that's what this place is going to be, and you can start that from the beginning so that you have it all laid out. This is how the golf courses work.
And it's so much cheaper. I mean, you don't have greens fees. You don't have to have a greens cutter. We'd be happy with nice grass down the fairway.
Oh, definitely. I don't think we want to go. I personally think Augusta National would be many steps too far for disc golf in terms of like, it's just everything's perfect and stays so quiet.
You don't have lawnmowers. You have someone going out there with
that's
scissors cutting the grass.
That is too far in my opinion. We don't need anything close to that. That is not what disc golf is. It's not like the landscape is not like
No.
out of a calendar, you know, but it can be very beautiful, but we want to maintain a little bit more of a natural feel, in my opinion, because that's where we came from.
Yep.
But it can still be manicured to a
Yeah.
level that we've never seen
You'd
before.
have fairways keepers. We don't need greens keepers. There's nothing on the green.
No, it's fun dreaming. That's for sure. Let's make it happen.
I fully believe that this generation, or like I say, class of like players, and within 10 years of where you guys are, plus or minus, is going to be the ones that are like, okay, now I feel like I've seen where it was, where it could be, and where it currently is, and like how do we get to that point?
Yeah.
And that's what some of us have done with media. That's how some people are doing with disc technology, on the administrative side with the tours and how those are structured and the payouts, and like you guys said, the Hall of Fame, somebody's going to have to do that same thing with that type of thing, because right now the Hall of Fame stops at, I'm just going to say Jay Redding or somebody like that in that area, because it goes down from Ed Hedrick to around there. But like you could be collecting memorabilia from Macbeth from the last 10 years, and that's not in there yet. So somebody's got to be like, okay, when are we going to open it up and like start doing that, so where it doesn't fit in what essentially is a closet. I've seen people's closets at their homes as big as the Hall of Fame is currently. That room is not that big. So when is it time to say, okay, let's open that up, or who's going to take the charge on like that? And then, like you said, go back and visit all of the previous ones and make it a little bit more of that, or collect memorabilia from their families and have a hall of.
There's some talks. I'll put it out there. I'm not going to go into detail on it, but there's some talks on changing that. And I believe there's some efforts being made to get something really closer to what you're talking about in this area with the DGPT. I think they're trying to do some big changes. I don't know the details on that, but I know that it's in the works of like being discussed about like trying to make something more standardized or more professional feeling, looking, more engaging, more of a vacations central point. It's a place that
Just
people want to go.
make it $40.
$40?
$40.
For $40 to
Speed
play?
Eagles Crossing, 35. Put it up to 40.
Oh, it'll get there. Yeah, he's still just trying to get people.
$100 discount, just a nice round number, something like that. Could you imagine what you could do with the $100 greens fees if like 5 people are playing a day? I'm saying if you could get to a place where you're getting, maybe membership fees where it's like $1,000 a year, like you're saying, or something like that. You get to play as much as you want.
We're still a ways from that.
But that's too high in my opinion. My dream would be lower than that, but that's fine. I mean, I'm not trying to make $100 course. I want like a nice 15, 20. Maybe there's a cheaper out. There's a couple courses on the property. We got a little $5 over here for just like beginners, but it's still beautiful. That's what I think would be awesome.
I want a course that you can't even play. That's
you just get to look at it.
No, it's just for tournaments. Like
$50 to look at it.
No, like you want to play it, but it's not even accessible.
But like you could pay to like smell and stuff.
No, you could be like a country club. You could be a member, but it would cost a big.
It's real life scratch and sniff. You can get down on the dirt and just start
I hear
digging.
what you're saying. A tournament venue.
You're talking about now like accessibility and how that will essentially help us elevate our sport, because right now, for the most part, we're all very accessible.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about players like you guys. Like they can go find you.
Yeah, you're you're a hard guy to track down.
I'm saying like I don't ever want to have to worry about accessibility with what we do. I think it's silly that we're even on the level we are with what people say to us. I'm talking about the players. I'm talking about LeBrons and Tom Brady's and stuff like that. I'm talking about like that's why those guys' autographs are worth so much, or that's why because you're never gonna. But right now they're like, oh, the discs are actually worth less with their signature on it. Yeah. Well, I think that's an issue of accessibility.
It is
because they know that anybody can find him at the course. But where is how do you guys feel about that? Like that whole thing, like you want to be accessible, right? Because you love having these fans, but where's the line where you say, okay, maybe like if we make some adjustments there, it kind of elevates. Like
I don't care about this. I don't care about the secondary market. I want to just sign kids' discs, and if people want my autograph, they can have it. I don't care anything. I don't want to make artificial rarity until signing autographs became like an absolute burden on my time. Like if I was LeBron James and I was like, autograph line starts here, then you're talking
days
about,
long.
Yeah, you're spending 2 weeks sitting at this table. You're getting blood clots. It's gonna be bad. But
I guess I'm not talking so much about the value of autographs and stuff. I'm just talking about that as far as like where the sport is or where it's going to go.
Yeah, I mean, you get forced. It gets forced. Right now, we're at a place where we can still pretty comfortably sit down after our round and spend 10 minutes and pretty much burn through the line. Macbeth maybe spends a little longer.
Speak for yourself.
You're very, very slow at signing autographs, and that's a
Yeah,
decision you made.
Our
And
line's just the same, but yours is twice as fast.
That's a decision you made,
I did.
and that's a decision you're going to live with.
I will.
But I'm just saying that decision will get made for us, because if we ever get to a point, and at our age, we'd be lucky to see this, I think, where it's like the autograph line is unbelievable, right? Now you're talking about hours and hours.
Imagine that's 10 years for Gannon. That poor guy.
That's when accessibility changes, because it's a necessity now. And no one expects the player to sit around after their round for 90 minutes. So that's when that shift happens. And then autograph signings happen at stores where Gannon's been paid to show up here, and people are lining up beforehand for hours. They're the ones waiting for hours now, not him. And he's been paid to come in there and do his thing. And that's when the autograph starts to be more of a special thing. That's fine. But I don't think it's not a decision we make. It's like a decision that gets made for us by demand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
While you're talking about that, I'm just thinking about how good Gannon is at disc golf.
Yeah.
I'm like literally
awesome.
I was literally just like having flashbacks of like seeing him last year and seeing him now here 1 year later when he was 16 and now he's 17. And I'm just like, if he continues this path, he's going to be the first ever 1,240 rated disc golfer.
Yeah.
In 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years time, he's going to average 1,240.
Yeah. It's going to be fun to watch.
His ascension has been incredible to watch. So I was totally zoning out.
But you want to know what makes me a little bit sad? Is I think about this dream course, right? Buying the land, getting 300 acres, 2-3 courses. I get to design them, and I get to have the pro tour, and I get to have the worlds at my private area, my private course. And then I think, I'm going to shoot 5 over on the course. And I think, I have to design a course that I can't play?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about with the accessibility? That like they can't even play because they're not good enough to play it?
No, he's talking about
He's
just
talking about
private.
you just can't.
I'm just talking about to challenge.
It's only for like
Members. Like you pay a big amount to be a member in this community, and then you have the best course ever that you can play sometimes. You can have guests come in just like...
Yeah. I'm just talking about the building on how good these guys are.
Yeah, he can't design it the way he
I'm
wants
talking
it
about,
unless he's got the Sexton layout. But it's like when it comes time for the tour layout,
I have to make a layout that's like the sad little layout for me.
Well, that's why you have different
which is
tees.
crazy, right?
Doink,
Yeah,
doink,
that's
doink.
true. And if you want to make something that's going to stand the test of time and be used in professional disc golf for 20 and 30 years, the back tees, we don't have. This guy maybe could play them. Me and you don't have a lot of business. He's going to shoot way over, but he could get a couple birdies.
You?
He could get a couple birdies. Me and you are like going bomb, and like if I can make a C2 putt, maybe.
Pars.
Like that's how crazy it's about
We
to
could
get.
shoot even par.
But
would
we'll
be
still
like
try
our
to work a
best.
couple mid ranges in somehow. But like it's
5 birdies, 12 over par strokes for me. That's what I'm saying. I'm shooting a nice 7 over.
yeah.
but I got
with
5 birds.
But with slick editing, you could be made to look pretty good.
really good.
Yeah.
Just shows 6 holes. Oh, I took that 1 bogey,
How's
4
he
under.
still doing it at age 43?
Oh,
And then he's like, my ankle is so stiff.
Oh, I can't imagine 10 years from now. I'm going to be like just
On T17.
dead.
Just shirtless, eating cereal. And people are going to be like, that's the guy? That's the guy who built this place?
that's the guy who's going with the ESP new.
And you're going to be like, get out of here.
It didn't play out very good.
It's a 150 gram ESP nuke.
Didn't see
Yuli's-
it playing out like that.
Yeah.
Yuli's gonna be the guy that has to like watch out for people sneaking onto the course because they can't afford
Get
the
off my
fees.
lawn!
Yeah, get off my lawn. You guys aren't members.
Yeah, definitely. And
Call
that's going to be an
security.
issue. Honestly, that's going to be an issue. You're going to have security, which is kind of weird.
Absolutely. Oh, Augusta's wild. I've driven around it.
Yeah, if
It's
you actually wanted a place
there's
to be
no
that
chance.
exclusive.
There's no chance you're getting anywhere near that place.
Hey everyone, I hope you're enjoying this episode of Showmez. I just wanted to let you guys know real quick that we are excited to announce our end of season sale. To take advantage of the sale, go to Jomezpro.com. There you'll find 50% off our 10 down tees and beanies, 35% off of our 10th anniversary discs, 20% off of all of our other discs, apparel, and accessories. And if you join Patreon, you can get an extra 20% off your order and access to exclusive content and awesome giveaways. The sale runs now through the end of the day this Sunday. We also want to announce that between now and the first tournament of the 2023 season, we are releasing new content every single week. Putting Game is back for season 3. We've got a new show with a surprise host that you're going to love, and more Paul Macbeth Foundation videos. There's also some other surprises in there that we're really excited to show you. So check out Jomezpro.com to take advantage of our sale and grab yourself some awesome gear. Thank you once again for your support. Now back to Showmez.
I know we went off on a little tangent there, but I love that. I love that conversation. But I do want to, at least while we're talking about 2021, talk about the 2021 World Championships, which was a pretty monumental event for our sport. We were in Ogden, Utah. I believe it was, what month was it?
June.
Worlds changes. So yeah, it was June.
Yeah, it was June that year.
Nice and hot, dusty. The fort kicks up a lot of dust. I remember
Cotton
going out
balls.
there every day. The cottonwood would shed from the trees.
I was sick the whole week from that cottonwood.
Yeah, I never really struggled with like allergy issues, but I remember being out there and it just hit me so hard, and I was like, well, apparently I'm allergic to something out here, or and I remember like I started bringing out like Benadryl, and I had it in my backpack because I was filming, and I would see people just dying, and I'd be like, hey, take one of these, like you'll thank me later.
You personally handed me like a dozen Benadryl that week.
Yeah, but I had a bottle of Benadryl because I was like, there's a lot of us out here that probably never have, that are experiencing the same thing. We just don't have these issues and we're not prepared. Yeah. And then between the dust kicking up because of all the spectators out there and the cottonwood falling, it was crazy. But anyways, we got to see like one of the most incredible moments that any of us have ever seen in sport, in person. And it was, most people know by now, and because they're huge fans of disc golf because of this event, because just seeing it in passing. But James Conrad throws it in from something like 247 feet.
The three of us were like standing right next to each other on the side of that green, right?
Yeah.
I remember just kind of like screaming into your guys' faces, just kind of going, ah! Like not knowing really what to say or do, and just like
it was crazy.
It was just a situation. It was exactly
it
was exactly the situation you would drop in a movie. Is that the only way that that this guy even has a chance is he has to throw it in. Yeah. It's like, and it's so much less likely than a Hail Mary pass than a home run or whatever. The fact that it happened is just like, I don't know if someone has gone and done statistics and like probability and all that of something like that even happening, but it's just insane.
Yeah. I mean, you take like all the money differences and you want to call one sport more legitimate than another. I don't care. When you talk about like how much it meant to James and Paul and all of us, which is all that really matters at the end of the day, how much of the people who are doing it care about it, which it's exactly as much as the NBA finals. So in that light, like who cares if it was for $1 million or less? It doesn't matter. He wanted it as bad as anyone could want it. And in that way, it's like the greatest sports moment I've ever seen anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like one shot to win it all, like the world championships, the biggest stage. And it's like, you can only want a thing so bad. The money part is kind of immaterial at that point.
Yeah.
So in terms of
the last thing James was thinking of is this shot.
It's
if I
not
think
about
about
the money, no.
the money that comes.
So it's about how bad did he want it? How hard did he work for it?
Yeah.
How important was it to him? How important was it to all the people watching that day? In that way, I put it as like the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. In terms of athletic, like
number one thing,
do or die. It's unbelievable.
Absolutely. And then it didn't just stop there. He had to win it in a playoff.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then
on a hole that he had already aced, the day before? 2 days before?
Yeah.
That week.
Yeah, whatever.
That week. Conrad corner. 16,
So
18.
it's not like he did it
right
to
next
win.
to each other.
He did it to tie.
Just to force.
And then he
Did you
won.
guys see how they put a permanent tee?
Yeah,
with like a little
they have a
picture of
permanent
James
tee
from
there
the
now.
spot now.
That's great.
They
just
buried
That's
a
great.
time capsule with things from that
Under the tee.
under the tee. One of the James Conrad shirts is in there that we made for him.
Under
it's
the
in a
tee pad, or
yeah.
underneath
They
the
buried a
pad that
time
they built
capsule
at
under the
spot
tee
of the
pad.
shot.
Oh,
So it's
Should
not
we
a
be
hole.
saying this? People are going to be going over there digging it up.
Oh, I mean, it's
not
it's
a
on
hole,
social
it's just
media.
a
They
tee
know it
that's
it
exists.
on
started
the
by
site.
old man Yuli, so you
Yeah,
can't
he's
get
like,
in.
"You're
No, you
boss."
won't get in.
I mean,
He's got a pitchfork.
yeah, but it's I remember being like one of maybe 2 or 3 people that were there when it happened that didn't actually get to see it because there was only like maybe 1, 2, or 3 of us that were on reaction cam.
Oh, yeah.
So we have one of our guys is on James, the thrower, and I remember my job that at the end of that tournament was secondary reaction. So I was on Macbeth because, but I didn't really expect anything. It was just like, all right, we're getting ready for Macbeth to win and
Yeah, of
all this
course.
stuff. And I'm so proud of the fact that we had thought of that strategy in our production, because I'm the only one that got like Macbeth's like surprised, like we always call it the surprise Pikachu face, because there's that little meme of there's
That's
a little
what you guys
meme
call
of
it?
yeah, because that's exactly the face he made. He was like, oh my God, I cannot believe that just happened. And we got to have that moment of not just James. You want to see the guy that hit the shot, but we got to
Yes.
have like a long running shot of Macbeth and Hannah and her reaction looking at him like, how do I feel right now? Because this is like the craziest thing I've ever seen. And we have to remain like
Yes.
the 2 people that on the whole fairway that have to remain
That aren't
like,
screaming.
composed.
The only 2 people
And
that
we
aren't
have
screaming.
like the footage of the running
This
footage
is so
of that.
interesting. I had never thought about the fact that you had to just experience that moment.
Okay.
Audibly.
So I don't even think I really talked about this a whole lot, but when it happened, I remember being on Paul, knowing James was throwing, and I'm getting that feeling again in my body right now because this is like putting myself back in here, and it feels crazy. But hearing the shot hit the chains, hearing the entire place, 2,000, 3,000 minds collectively exploding at the same time, losing their just sense of just like what is happening right now. And I remember the energy alone of not even knowing what exactly happened. I feel like I knew what happened, but I didn't really know it had to have happened. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
And I just remember staying on Paul, but like the energy just being like, I don't know what's happening. Like my body is just like absorbing all of this energy at one time. And I don't like, this is incredible. I've been to like professional sporting events where amazing things happen, and it was nothing like that, because you kind of expect what the outcome might be. But the fact that the unexpected happened, I didn't get to see it, but I'm feeding off of all these people's energy. I'm still working. I'm still like, I can't even celebrate. I'm trying to focus on Paul. And I just remember like pretty much like getting tears in my eyes, because I'm like, what is happening right now? Like it was overwhelming, but I'm like still working, like thinking like we just captured the most amazing thing that's ever happened, apparently. Like
Yeah.
I don't even know, but I'm pretty sure that's what just happened. And I'm watching Paul the whole time and just being like, okay. And I remember for the next 5 minutes just being like on autopilot, like filming whatever I can, but not
Yeah.
fully knowing what happened. And like
Yeah.
just the energy was just unreal on that, in that one concentrated center, like portion of the earth. Like
Yeah.
for that one moment, that nothing like that was happening anywhere else on the planet except in that one spot. Like just everyone just could not believe what had just happened.
I remember grabbing Yuli's shoulders at one point and just shaking him while we're looking at each other like, like that. Like I was doing that to other people too. Like we were looking at each other and just being like, tell me that happened. Like, tell me that really, really happened. Like it was.
Yeah, I was just
was
shaking
nuts.
for a solid,
crazy.
because then they tap out and we have to walk all the way up the hill to 17. We go the back way
16.
or 16, and then just like having to do all that, still just being like, I cannot, like everyone just like mumbling for
Yeah,
30
the little
minutes.
buzz,
There's just
yeah.
everyone's just like over and over, like you said, can you believe it? I just can't believe it.
Yeah.
I can't believe that happened.
I feel
Everyone's
like
just
in-
cheering James's name. Like
Yeah.
Paul's like, I'm also in the playoff.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but at that point, no one cares.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, one person, 2 people care. Yeah, the whole industry of people of discraft care. But I mean, like everyone else there is like, who was unbiased is suddenly
Yeah,
100%
you have
biased.
The thing is, you just have to, no matter how you feel, even in other sports, no matter how you feel about another team or another player, if they pull off something like that, you have to have respect for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to just be like, I cannot believe that happened. Even Paul in that moment had to have been like, that was insane.
Yeah.
Like, I hope I still win the world's, the title, but the fact that you just did that, like, he couldn't really, that's how he is. He just like is going to remain very like calm and stoic and like still be there as a competitor. But he was like, I mean, I do think he gave him a fist bump as he walked back into the group from the basket and stuff. So, but it was just, could you imagine just like somebody pulling that off against you?
Yeah.
And just being like, I cannot believe what just.
If any of us were about to
insane.
win our first world title and that happened to us, it'd be hard to be like, let me raise my fist bump up for you.
Well, I mean, yeah, in a
I'd
lot
raise my fist all right.
the old man would be like,
old grumpy Uli. Nice shot.
in a lot of ways,
meet my pitchfork.
in a lot of ways, it's so great that it was Paul that had to endure that because at least
anyone else,
he has so much and he's been able to come back and obviously win another one.
And then that's all anyone talks about forever. It ends up on every social media version of, World Star Hip Hop and Sports Center and all kinds of stuff. And then we got to release our like extended cut with like.
They made it on World Star?
I'm pretty sure that one was on World Star. I mean, they'll pick up anything,
That's
like.
awesome. I didn't know that.
But it's just like. It gets sent out into the world, and it's just amazing because we had so many angles of it. I mean, we had ours and DGN and the cell phone videos, and like we were at this level of disc golf that 10 years from today, 9 years from before, like I was there at 2012 Worlds, and there was no cell phones. Like you can look in the thing. There's a couple people, but it wasn't like this thing that you had to do. And now it's like so for James's shot. 9 years later, everyone's just like, just in case. And then they got it, and there's so many versions of it. And they had the grandstands set up. So we had a full crowd of people and people running out onto the fairway after him and stuff. And you're just like, what?
Shout out to the course designer, too.
Yeah.
Designing a hole that could give you drama like that.
Definitely.
I mean, the way that played out, I can't stop thinking about, you talk about how it happened perfectly and how you couldn't even script it. It's so true. I mean, James has the box, right? Or did Paul have the box? Either way, James throws out of position.
Yep.
And Paul's in prime position, maybe the best drive we've seen in the hole. It was really difficult to get to a place where you could actually see the pin where the mandatory tree wasn't in the way. And Paul was in that spot. And James is just barely over the water, but like impossible spot to go for. So even if he wanted to get creative, there's not a shot that a human can throw from where James's drive landed where he would be enticed to actually try it.
Yep.
So he has to lay up.
And a better drive would have allowed Paul, right?
To consider going for it.
And could have iced it.
Yeah. And if Paul just, like now James is throwing up so drop zone. So of course you're 250 away.
You can't go.
Yep. You lay it up and you win the world championship the way that you are supposed to.
That's how you do it, yeah.
That's the way it's written in the stars.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like everything had to happen that way. And the drama of the way that they played down the stretch as well was so incredible. It wasn't neither one of them. Well, you would hate to have anyone limp into a world title. You want to see it won.
Yeah.
And it was won. If you ever played in a match play tournament and you've won a hole when your opponent took a bogey, you kind of feel sheepish about it. It's kind of a weird feeling.
Yeah, to win with a par.
I didn't really do much here, but okay. That's not how it went down. It went down with two people swinging and swinging and swinging, and it was just like, I mean, that part of it alone, it was just really special. And then the culmination of it all was obviously.
I think it's crazy how all these majors are coming down to it.
Yeah.
Like that now.
Yeah.
Kenny used to win these things by 10.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you see it in in other sports of how these big moments come at the end of the tournament or the championships. And then you see these great things happen in other sports. And I feel like besides that moment, before that, I couldn't remember somebody just making a crazy putt to win a world championship or something before that. It was all done 40-footer, okay.
3 or 4 holes ago.
Yeah.
Macbeth and Ricky maybe in 2014 where it was that nice playoff.
Yeah, where they were just banging it out like one after another. And I remember even there's that clip of Shoestrick in the background going, wow. As soon as somebody smashes another one, he's like, what is happening? And then everyone just running to the next.
But it'd been a while.
The level of play has gotten so good that whoever wins is making, like Paul this year, even at the World Championship. We went to a playoff because he drained a freaking 70-footer from out of position where he should have never have gotten to 70 feet.
Yeah, shouldn't even able to do that.
Shouldn't even have been in that position, and he drains it there. And then Gannon this weekend with these crazy putts and coming down to the last hole again and all kinds of drama. It's just when the level of play gets that great, it brings the best out of the athlete, and that just is proof that our athletes are freaking good, man. To go to those places to where you can quiet the mind and then do that. Like, I've only done that a few times in my life at C tiers.
Yeah.
It reminds me of something that Nate and I don't, maybe you've been a part of this conversation as well, but I am glad that I have done and we have done what we have done in the time that we did it.
Yep.
If I had to start over right now, I'm toast.
No, there's no way.
We have to say, and I think you'd agree with me here, that 2021 World's podium was straight beasts.
Yes,
Right?
it was.
Right? I mean,
Well
you had-
done
you
to
had-
James and Paul.
you
And
had
who was the third?
James winning it, just freak athlete boss, and then Paul greatest, and third was also just a specimen.
It was
facts.
Kevin Jones.
He got fourth or fifth.
fourth or fifth.
Dickerson was in that range too.
Oh, then you were third.
It was me.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it was me.
Yeah,
it was me.
yeah,
I
that's
knew
right.
there was.
Yeah, in
Congratulations.
this era where it's supreme.
Beasts.
Beasts
14 of the
Beasts
last
only.
17.
I think so.
Top 10s
I
and
think so.
majors.
I think so. I've
That's
been
crazy.
grinding. I've been trying.
That's incredible. But this isn't about you.
It isn't, but I tried to make it about me.
No, and deservedly so.
You're
because-
taking a page out of Jerm's book.
It's
You
one of
did a
my
good job.
proudest. It's one of my proudest tournaments.
Totally.
So yeah,
when,
as
hey,
much
when
as
you
that was,
when you do something sick like that, you get
I lost by
you get to
4.
bring it
I
up.
did lose by 4. I didn't. I if they hadn't gone so hard in those last few holes, I was on my U-disc going, well, I mean, they could miss the island on
Sure.
16. They could mess up 18. I could be.
Yeah.
I could maybe win. Like, I was trying my best, but yeah.
What is it? Can you describe in like a few words what it's like to lose by less than 10 strokes to the winner of a tournament?
Oh
Because
yeah.
I don't remember.
That's a good point. I would like to hear this too.
It's I just lost by 13. So
Okay, but that's incredible because they killed it.
Yeah.
If you could reflect on 2021 Worlds when you were 4 off the win, can you? Like, I just would like to
What
experience
place
it
did you get this
vicariously.
year at Worlds?
9th,
How many back?
more than 10, I think.
If you can remember, I just would like to absorb some of it.
Well,
Is it frustrating? Are you reflecting more on the mistakes, or are you thinking more about how much of a beast mode it is? To
early,
get that close?
obviously, you're talking mistakes, but then as the days wear on, a couple days later, then you kind of get the glow, I think, and you think, that was a job well done. I was in there. I was mixing it up at the ripe old age of however old I
I don't
was.
remember the last tournament that I wasn't.
I was
10
36.
back after 2 rounds.
You know the objects in mirror are closer than they appear.
Yeah, that meme.
Yeah, well, just yes, the meme, but also how they actually say that on the mirrors.
Yes.
That time in my life it's not closer than it appears at all. It's very far and it's very distant from me. All I'm saying.
It's not a weird car mirror. This is a legit
this is
bathroom
a- yeah.
mirror. Things are exactly what
It's
they are.
it's really far away.
Yeah.
right
The
now.
scale
It
is
feels that
correct.
way at least.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You'll get
so
back. You'll get back.
We had to switching gears because we're talking about play. We should talk about commentary because that week was crazy for us.
Yes.
One, in the 2021 season, we were doing commentary pretty early throughout the year because the women were teeing off in the afternoons and the men were teeing off in the mornings.
Yeah.
At Worlds, the league card was teeing off at 4 o'clock, which is later than it is now this year, where we were doing the afternoon commentary.
Yeah.
So we
It's
were
almost
doing
dinner time for guys your age.
exactly.
It
Yeah, it
is.
is exactly.
And his size.
So we were doing
You
commentary
got to
throughout
fuel
the
that
week.
machine.
We were doing commentary throughout the week, starting midnight earliest and going till the wee hours of the day.
Sometimes 2.
Yes. Then I'll let that be a transition because this is come the holy shot. We make a decision that we're not going to do commentary that night at 12. We need to spend some more time.
Because they
with
needed
this.
more time with the edits, and it was going to be the greatest video ever.
So
So we did it at 5 a.m.
Y'all loaded right up in the vehicle right after.
I had to get to the airport.
And had to go to Salt Lake City, which is
5
like
a.m.
a
It was.
while.
I think we did it at 5 a.m. So that
5 a.m.
recording, not only are most of the recordings we're making at 1 in the morning, and we're doing our best to smile and not look too tired on the camera, but then that one, this most hype moment ever, it was like
Probably
18 a.m. or something.
Probably went to bed at 1:32 a.m. because I don't think I was
Yeah.
ready to go to bed before that, realizing that I'm going to get about 3 hours of sleep, and then we're about to get in the booth and commentate one of the most important rounds. The next hour and a half, 2 hours are going to be the most important rounds in the commentary booth of our career.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I mean-
so talk about that. How you guys discussed that beforehand? Like, how do we
Yeah, I
do this?
remember going right up
some
to-
people don't know that this is actually post-produced because to the masses, they're just thinking, they don't exactly, not everyone knows the logistics of our productions versus.
I kept it real simple. I remember going right up to Jerm and saying, if you blow the Koling shot call, we aren't friends anymore. And then we just sat down and hit record.
Yep.
Okay.
That's exactly what he said too. He's not lying.
Yeah. And then I didn't know how to react.
And he blew it.
And Nate
In
is
some
sitting next
people's
to me out of
opinion.
obligation now, not out of friendship.
No, I remember just being like, well, we have to be a little bit intentional. Like, we want authenticity. We always want authenticity. But usually we have a little bit of like, we can get authenticity because we weren't usually there. We're usually in 50th place, unfortunately, or somewhere. We weren't on the green. We're doing other stuff. We already finished 20, 30 minutes ago, whatever. This time, everyone was there. It's the World Championships. Everyone was there. So we saw it all front row, and it was a weird place to be because you want to go, oh, and make the moment big without like overacting like, oh, in your life have you, and have like a canned line. You don't want to have something that's very. It was weird.
Very weird. And I've received so many comments about that. And in hindsight, like 6:15 in the morning or whatever, 6:40 in the morning, whatever time it was, off of zero sleep, and still reacting to this. This is like our third
Very
time
fresh.
watching it.
You're still, yeah.
Yes.
Like we saw a couple of highlights, replays. I remember we were eating dinner later on that evening, and it was the first time that they had shared the clip of it, and we were all like gathered around the phone, and we watched it over, and we were just like, our minds were blown, right? So it was not overexposed by any means when we were watching it on Jomez the next morning, trying to call it, and like definitely got wrapped up in that moment, with just being like, no, oh my God, and totally losing myself in that moment there, which I thought was very authentic. And some people agreed and some people strongly disagreed and whatever. It's like,
You're never gonna please everybody. We know that.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are professionals. This was a very unique moment, and you were there, so it's easy for you to feel exactly what you were feeling in that moment. And it's just.
And our friendship took a hit.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like a killer. It was like a. I feel like we've recovered.
Yeah.
That's great.
For the most part,
It took a hit, but I mean, what friendship doesn't?
Yeah, sure.
Sometimes you go up to your friend, you say, "You screw this up, we're done."
Yeah,
and then they kind of bobble it, but they make the catch.
Yeah, I mean,
and you move on. You forgive, you move on.
Yeah, Baker
That's what I-
Mayfield to
and that's what
Robbie
I-
Anderson. There's just a lot of drops and a few catches.
It was in the end, it was a catch.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it was bobbled.
I thought you were gonna miss that one. That would have sealed the deal.
Bye.
Sealed the deal in our friendship.
We're not really. Yeah, we're not that close. I'll bait you into a fist bump when I'm about to say I got third place.
Yeah, you got me on that one. No, I'm not gonna
make you
not
fist bump
gonna
me for
seal the
greatest
deal.
podium of all time, certified beasts only. But yeah, no, it was good. It was fun. It was hard. It was hard work, and you're our hype man in the booth. So you're going to be the first. Any big thing that happens, it's your mouth. It's your words that come out first.
Your mouth.
It's your mouth that flaps
your mouth
around.
that does all the
that
work.
goes, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So I knew that it would be your call.
He's the
coming
gas,
out.
and you guys are the brakes. That's
Yeah,
usually how
I
it
know that
works.
So you knew it was going to be your reaction that would come out loudest.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Well,
I mean,
like
what
the
do
air
you?
condition.
You're like the
know
guy
what I mean?
that. So we get so many comments about, especially these little setups. Oh, here's the timestamp. 14 minutes
Then
in,
when
Yuli starts
finally
talking.
as if we're like
Yeah,
"Good, shut up,
you better
shut up."
shut your mouth. Do not utter a word until you're spoken to.
Yeah. We got him
I
in a
like
cage.
listening, man. I'm enjoying it.
A wise man.
This is what it's
many
like
wise
in the
men
booth.
have said
These
that-
guys just yapping it
Yapping,
around. I come
yapping.
in with a couple zingers. And
Dude,
yeah,
that's a good way to play it. It's a great way to play it.
Yeah.
Because
He's
you
the
can
catchphrase
be
guy.
like, well, do I have any gold yet? This is gold. And then you drop some gold.
That's right.
Everyone's like, this guy's a genius.
Let's see how it plays out. Put it on a shirt.
Yeah, it's perfect. I think I get to exist more in that space in the live coverage when I'm doing DGN because it's like the other guys are kind of carrying it, and I'm like looking at some stats. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
here comes a Goldie, and then you just kind of say something, and everyone's like, wow, what a take, you know, and you're like, well, I had 5 minutes to think. The other guys were carrying, you know, Terry was carrying the action, and I was just like, scrolling through my phone, going, oh, worst C1, oh, great driving, you know, and then you can say something really insightful.
And Jerm doesn't get to do that. Jerm says everything, and then
the
still
things.
gets as many gold hits as you guys do, but it just gets buried in all the.
Oh, he has twice as many gold hits, but he's also
10 times as many misses.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to get to. Is the wise men quote is that, like, wise men have said that if you keep talking, you'll eventually say something that's profound, and people will like you a lot. I think the quote exactly. You just keep talking.
Benjamin
over
Franklin.
And over again.
The way we
Don't listen is what they say.
The way we
Just
talk is exactly the way we play disc golf. How many birdies you make in the USDGC?
I had 27.
23.
23. You got,
How many bogeys you make?
I had 22 bogeys, 2 doubles, and then 2 that were triple or above.
Yeah, and I had 1 and 1, and you had about 5. So, you know,
Makes sense.
You
More hits.
You miss every shot you don't take.
More
of
hits
course.
and more misses.
Yeah.
And you guys also crushed me in pars, which is like
Pars
basically
are easy.
boring statements.
pars
And
are
again,
par
I
on
think-
any hole if you want.
Pars are boring.
Yeah, pars are boring.
We definitely did a lot of. We hit on some really good topics that like were even a part of the time, which is what I wanted. This is what I want like for Showmez to be. You guys let us know like how you feel about this, but these are the kind of topics, the stuff we did cover, like that weren't necessarily event based, like talking about like where disc golf is, where we think it should be. You guys experience, like that's what I love about it. Like so coming off of Worlds and just how much we talked about how we saw an insane amount of growth from the pandemic, but then after Worlds and how much impact that had. And everyone just being like, oh, yeah, I saw that long-haired dude. Like, you guys do disc golf? I saw that long-haired dude threw in that Frisbee shot. That was crazy. Like, I heard plenty of that. And, like, so every time we post a new video or every time something insane happens like that, like, this thing just keeps rolling along. To here we are 10 years later, like, for us. And I know that for you guys it's been a lot longer, but just to kind of touch back on the point of what this whole season was about. It was just like everything that happens, like every time we put out a new video, it reaches another person, or it, you know, and you guys get to see like you talked about the last episode, like where's Jerm, where's Nate, like they just see you guys as like always together.
Yeah,
because like on the media side, like you guys, you know, have just put so much dedication into
Every tournament
this.
I play. Hey, have you seen Yulia today?
I heard it 50 times at the booth. Me and Tanner were working the booth at the USDGC, and they'd buy a BigSexy disc. Like, hey, you think I can get this sign? And I was like, good luck. They're here. Like, because they just think that they're just like, oh, here they are behind the curtain.
They're under the table.
Yeah, hey guys.
They tell me when they're getting the autograph, they're like, hey,
sign over Jerm's name.
why don't you scratch his name out, man? Or they'd be
sign
like,
over
hey,
directly over Paul's name.
Giving Big Jerm crap.
Yeah.
I
get a lot.
Exact response.
I get a lot of the like, I'm trying to get all 3 of you guys on here. I haven't got Uli yet, or whoever it is. I'm like, well, he'll be here tomorrow. I have a strong feeling he'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah, and I had some people come back to the booth with a shirt or a disc signed by all 3 of you, and I was like, actually, I'm really proud of you, because I did not know that when I told you that they were out there and that I told them, and there was only a few. There was only a handful that came back and was like, I got it.
Tee times were.
Yeah, you
got to
have your schedule figured out.
Could you imagine the line? This is maybe like a little cocky to say, but the line, I think, if the 3 of us were on a card together now in this day and age, I think the line for the autographs after the round would be crazy for all those people with the Jomez merch out there.
Maybe what you're trying to say is we're greater than the sum of our parts. We're stronger together.
That's how it is. That's a great way to help us like get to the 10 years later type thing. Like the crew, all of you guys, everybody putting in every ounce of work that we do, the late nights, the commitments that it takes for us to even be out here. Not even like you guys have a job out here regardless of what the media thing is, but like all of us out here, like we got no business being out here. Like we can't afford to travel to tournaments just as a spectator. You know, we're certainly not playing. So like all of us having a role in this, like that's what feels so good about being here all these years later. even being able to be at the booth whenever I'm working the booth, and they're like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "I love being out here.
Yeah.
I actually don't get to do this enough. I got off the road 2 or 3 years ago, you know, and like I would love to be out here as much because it's such a crazy situation to be in where you're like on the road all the time. You're like, man, I just can't wait to go home, and I can't wait to do this. And then you're sitting at home, and my job is behind a desk now, and it's just like I know that what I know what I have to do for all this to be possible, but then you think I cannot wait to hop on a plane and go. It's you're never gonna have it all. You're never gonna really find that spot where I think you're just like perfectly content, because it's always gonna be one or the other. And so it puts a perspective on it to say like, man, I actually kind of miss when we were in the RV grinding it out and like sleeping in Walmart parking lots and just making it happen, you know, because we were like gone and it was hard from like family life thing and, you know, all that. But now it's just like, I like, even on my worst day at the desk, you know, like phone calls constantly, emails, trying to make sure everything, and like we know where we're going, because we know from what the fans see, it's like they love every bit of it. So how do we keep that going? And then being able to come out here and be face to face with people that say, I didn't even know about disc golf until I saw all you guys, the product that you all put out. And like, that's how I found it. And I'm just like, okay, so I got to remember, like, I almost have to like refill my tank when I come out here, so that when I have to go back and have a rough day or whatever happens, like on the backside of things, I like remember those people and those interactions that I had and the comments that we read in them saying like, we appreciate what you guys do. I love Jerm and Nate and Yuli, and I love the fall of flights, and I love the overhead drone shots, and I love the profile pieces and everything that we all get to put together as a product in a very quick turnaround, and just to say like, this is what it's for. Like, it can be a grueling job. Like, it's not easy. I've always told people that being a player commentator, I can't even imagine, like, that's got to be one of the toughest jobs out here, because you commit yourselves 100% to two completely different things.
It's just one point of the unbreakable Jomez triangle, man. You got the player commentators, you got the fans, you got the camera nerds, and when you bring them all together, we're stronger together.
Yeah,
I mean, at the end of the day, we're stronger together.
The four of us are all work. We're all up here, but then, like you said, 20 employees. I mean, there's it's and the thing is, the connection with all of us is like, there's really not like a single person that I wouldn't love to have over at my house hanging out. Like after we're done shooting here, like, you guys are welcome to come over and hang out.
You heard it, guys. We're straight over there. Pizza at Jerm's house.
Small house, but you know, like,
but it's just it's like
time.
It's cool that we get.
I still like to like make sure to never get used to any of this or take it for granted.
Yes.
Because it can change so quick.
Dude,
like,
I was walking the course in the round this week. I think it was the third round, and I remember just looking around and being like, man, I'm lucky to be here.
Yes.
There's a lot of good disc golfers that would love to be in this position. I am lucky to still be playing the USDGC. This is a major championship.
Yes.
And then it's a privilege, you know, it's not given anymore.
No.
Especially at our age. Like, it's not given that you can just be out there playing, and it eventually won't be a thing.
The older I get, the more that what you were saying just becomes so obvious to me, that there is not enough time in this life to have it all.
No.
And so you enjoy what you have to the best of your ability. And if you can do that every day, you aren't going to be that sad when you go, I think.
No.
You know, you're going to be able to look back and have a full life.
There was a scene from The Curious Case of Benjamin Button when I think his partner was talking to him about the main character, Benjamin Button. His partner was talking to him about how her favorite time in their lives was when they had this small apartment trying to save money to build the bigger house.
Yeah.
You know, the part where they really had the most fun and loved life the most was when they had the least, and they were like thinking and dreaming big. And it's like, it's never about the destination, right? It's the ride to it. So like, we're on that ride to having the greatest thing, you know, like the sport being the biggest, or us having the greatest marketing potential for our brand. But like, right now, if we're overlooking that,
you have to be very careful, because if you keep doing that and you keep saying, then you don't really appreciate like those moments. Because then all we ever do is we always look back and say, "Oh, that was
how
that
nice
was it.
How awesome was that?"
Yeah,
that scene got me so bad, because I remember thinking like, I think I'm in that small apartment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What would you do if you're yelling at yourself from
And I'm like,
the
dude,
time portal? Be like,
appreciate,
yeah,
recognize, absorb.
Stop
Yeah.
worrying about later. Like
Right.
you're here already. Like
Yeah.
you know, it's
Last
just like
year at Worlds, I remember specifically driving to commentary, leaving the house, and I had my whole family there. I flew my whole family in, and they all stayed at this place, and it was this big cabin-like feel right on the mountains, and we just would go out and talk, and we had dinners there every night. And I had just got done finally shooting a good round, like one of my better rounds of the season, and I was driving to commentary, and I was just like, just remember this,
Yeah.
because this is a good day,
Yeah.
and they're not all good days.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important when you have a good one, or you're doing something special, or you have a job, it doesn't matter what job it is, just appreciate it, because
Could be.
I mean, I remember it a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for you
and,
to be able to put that in a capsule and be able to like.
and it went by so fast.
Yeah.
So fast.
The
It
next
just
day was
feels like-
terrible.
yeah, and then you
next
have
day
another.
sucked.
But like there'd be
Well,
times.
no, then I had to get in the booth with you, and then we blew the whole thing. And
Yeah. There'd be times where we're out
Dang
there
it.
on tour playing disc golf like on a Tuesday, just playing whatever course, and we'd sit there and be like, "Can you believe this is our job? Like we have to go film this tournament like with the best pros, and we have the front row seat, and people say we have the best job in the world, but then people are at work out there 9 to 5, and we're out playing a course
Think
on
how
the way
we
to
feel. We are those pros.
yeah
We're the ones who, and we're even to another level. Like, this is our job.
yeah
We
Jules
even
got
have to
mad
do
at me one
We don't
time.
even have to edit.
Jules got mad at me one time when Paul and I were discussing and talking about how our jobs were literally being professional fun havers. And she was like mad at me. She's like you shouldn't say that, you know, or like, I was like, what do you mean? She's like, well, people are working hard. I'm like, yeah, that sucks. Like, I mean, it doesn't
but
suck,
you
but
also have really
like,
bad days too.
I'm working really hard, like
Yeah.
super duper hard. But like, just because I'm able to frame what I'm doing as like fun is,
Yeah.
you know, like it's not that I'm like in your face about it. I'm not trying to like, be like, hey, like sucks
going
for
down to
you.
McDonald's and going,
But like Paul and I get to just because I recognize it doesn't mean I can't go over to Paul and be like,
yeah.
professional fun havers.
yeah
It's crazy.
Pretty
It's the
sick.
craziest
yeah
thing.
it's such a unique place to be, and especially with our job in the media. Like this didn't exist 10 years ago. We don't know what it looks like 10 years from now, so we better enjoy what it is like to be like a media company that can be independent. We don't have to answer to a studio or to to whoever, like Netflix or whatever. Like YouTube is still this thing where you post whatever you want. There's no time constraints. We did that CBS thing in 2020. That was a nightmare for us because they were telling us this segment has to be 22 minutes and 14 seconds. And this segment has to be this. And it was just like, no, like we don't do that. Like we did it because that was the goal.
Yeah.
But the fact that we can make a video 2 minutes long, a movie trailer, or we can make a 45-minute round coverage video, or we can make a Showmez podcast that's going on for probably way too long. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
And as long as we are doing what we feel like we're doing right by the fans, and we can take that feedback and make the adjustments from one episode to the next, like we better enjoy this, because we don't know. Like, what if YouTube says like, okay, now you have to do this and this? We don't know. We don't even know if YouTube will exist in 10 years because it barely existed 10 years ago.
Sure.
Like, we just have to be in this moment and be very excited for what it is, and for the fans to be watching this, and just for us to be able to reflect on all
No
this.
restrictions, limitations, or guidelines is the number one reason why I have a job with you. Like, if there were those things in place, this would have been a short-lived venture with the Jomezpro.
I remember when I first started playing, it was my favorite thing. My favorite thing was disc golf.
Yeah.
Absolute favorite.
Yeah.
Now it's my job.
Yeah.
I got a good life.
Yeah, for real.
We all do.
Yeah.
For real. And I think you moved past that small apartment phase, man, because this is a nice house. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, you guys are all welcome to stay here as long as you want.
Up until 2 p.m. actually.
Yeah,
So
in which case
that's
I
when
will
the-
also be leaving.
That's when the contract says we got to be out of here. So on that note, really do appreciate it. Thank you everyone for watching. Nate Sexton, I think you have a special reveal. This isn't going to be like a weird thing,
you
but
wanna
Nate
see
Sexton is going to
this?
take off his pullover.
You want to see this?
Careful, careful. It's for, we have to keep it family friendly. You guys have seen the discs, but these are the shirts that we've got releasing now.
Show 'em the
Big
shoulder.
Sexy Barri shirts.
Show
He's
the
got a
shoulder.
little back shoulder action.
Oh, yeah.
What's mine say?
It says dude. It says dude.
Yeah, so just another show of appreciation for these guys, you know, with some merch that goes to support them. The Big Sexy Now with Barri. People love it. Look, every time we started showing these people, they thought that was awesome. And of course, we love having the Now with Barri. He's made this whole thing just.
We should get a cereal called Big Sexy Now with Barri, and you can be eating that on 17's tea.
That would be good.
Yeah,
I'm
so you
hungry
can get
now.
these now at
I am hungry now,
Jomezpro.com. One funny note that I thought was interesting that I hadn't thought about is we were selling these at the booth at USDGC this past couple days, and there would be kids walk up and want that shirt, and the mom would be like, "You cannot wear that to school." Because it says sexy on it.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, man, that's crazy because there's probably some schools that would be like, no way, your kid is coming to school. Like, you're changing, you know, whatever. And I was like,
Yeah.
dang, that's kind of funny because it's like it doesn't mean anything like.
No,
in
it
the-
means the opposite of that.
I think we put like a Patreon. I think Christine asked me for like a prompt one time on Patreon, like, what should I say for this giveaway? Because we gave away some of y'all's signed discs, and I said the question will be if you told somebody that had no idea what disc golf was that you love Big Sexy Barri, what do you think that would mean? And the answers were amazing. So. If you want to go check that out, thank you to our patrons, by the way. Like, we do stuff like that all the time. We do giveaways. Yeah. We do, you know, all kinds of fun stuff over there. Extra content, like exclusive content. Michael's always killing it on the behind the scenes. Him and Joey do a great job with that. A lot of this stuff is just funded by our patrons. You know, we don't have sponsors for this type of stuff. We just like to get together and do this kind of stuff for the fans. And we greatly appreciate it over at patreon.com/Jomezpro. You guys keep us going. So it's been a wild ride. Who knows where we're headed, but you know, we got a little introspective there too. Be like, let's just live here. Let's stay in this house for another hour and just enjoy it.
Well, this is like the point in
get on Zillow, Nate. Maybe this is on Zillow.
This is the point in Forrest Gump when he's at the bus stop and he's caught you up with everything.
Yep.
And then he realizes that the house that they're trying to go to is right down the street, and then you get to follow Forrest Gump.
Yeah,
in real time, and that's where you guys are all now. We're completely caught up.
And now we are live. No, that would be crazy. We found a way to switch it just to live. We could all
like
sit
the
here.
drums.
Yeah, we could.
My mic's just all messed up.
Oh boy, we tried, guys. We tried to do the live thing. It was so fun. We had
fun.
fun.
There in person. That was
best.
fun.
Yeah. We'll try it again, and we'll work through the kinks, but it was fun. So thank you all for being with us as we wrap up season 3 of Showmez. We had a great time. It's been a crazy journey, and thank you for being along the ride with us, whether you've been here the whole time or whether you just got here. We've got a lots more to come as we wrap up the 2022 season. We look forward to 2023.
2023.
See you in Vegas.
See you in Vegas.
Well, we've got a lot more coming than that. We've got putting game.
Yeah.
We've got island challenges.
Sweet. We got the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship coming up.
Well, this will already be out by then.
Yeah,
I hope you enjoy the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship. That was fun, huh? When so-and-so won.
The event was wild. Huh?
Wait till you see 17. James does it again.
Thank you all for joining us. We look forward to bringing you much more content. For Nate Sexton, Jeremy Koling, and Paul Ulibarri, we'll see you next time.